Morning guys, I'm going to show you today how to install a 2-handle bathroom faucet with a 4-inch center set pattern. So follow along with me. It's going to be a complete video. There's a few pitfalls here and there, but it's not real hard. And look at this video when you need to install one. It's really simple. And then when you're done, check out my next video. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Okay guys, what we're going to do is we're going to unwrap this faucet that we have. It's for a bathroom sink. I'm in one of my properties doing a little rehab. And the sinks, the bathroom faucet, this is a 4-inch center set faucet with the 2 handles. Now, first thing you're going to do is you're going to take off the lock nuts that hold this thing to your sink. Okay, take them both off. Just unscrew them, and we're going to place this on our sink. Now I'm going to turn you around here so you can see what I'm doing. Alright, so I've got my sink here, and this is real simple. Now some people will tell you to put some silicone around this, but I never do that. When I want to take one out, I want it to be done and take it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and I'm going to place it on my sink, as you can see. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the lock nuts on. These lock nuts are going to hold it firm in place. Now you do want to make sure your little black gasket on your sink is completely underneath your hardware. There's a black little rubber gasket that goes on here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand this sink on its edge, and I'm going to just really snug these down. Snug it down, finger tight. That's all you have to do. Alright, so I've got my faucet on my sink. Next step is I've got to install my drain for my sink, okay? So I've got this faucet by Glacier Bay. They're about $25, $26. Comes with a faucet and drain kit. And because I'm putting a new sink in, I am going to use the drain kit that comes with my faucet. If you try to use the drain kit that's already installed, if you're using an older sink that's already set in place, then you're going to have a problem with that. First thing you do though is you take and you peel off this blue protective covering from your drain, okay? Dump out your plunger. Take off the blue, see the blue? Take off the blue protective covering on this thing. Peel that off, if I can get it off. Get that off. All that is on there for is just so this hardware doesn't get scuffed up in production. Alright, so it's going to go on there like this. I don't need this plunger at the moment, the stopper. So what I'm going to do is this thing comes apart. You just unscrew it, and you have the top and you have the bottom. Now I'm going to reposition the camera so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so you have your drain assembly, and this is going to be your top part that goes down, and this is going to come from the bottom, and it's going to screw up in there. Okay, now this drain assembly, if you notice, has holes in it. That's because this sink has a drain system built into the sink, so that hole will allow drainage in that sink. Okay, some sinks won't have that, and you'll have to change these out. But let me show you how this works. Now the first thing you're going to need on this thing, I'm going to lay these down, is you're going to need some plumber's putty. Now some people will swear by silicone, but I say you have to, or you really need to use plumber's putty. And what we do is we take this plumber's putty out, and we're going to roll it in our hands, and we're going to make it pliable, okay? Warm it up. And sometimes you'll have to add a little bit of water to it if it's a little bit dry. But what we're doing with it is we are going to make a seal around this faucet so that, make sure you get all the little plastic off and everything before you try this. But what we're going to do is we're going to make a seal around the faucet that fits down in this sink right here, okay? And all we're going to do is this plumber's putty that we've got, we're going to squeeze it together. It's almost sort of fun. But anyway, squeeze it together. Make you a, you won't probably need that much, but I'm going to squeeze it together and I'm going to roll it until I make a small little bead of it that can go around my drain assembly. Now what am I talking about? Let me show you. So I've got it here. I'm going to basically lay it around my drain assembly. Now that looks like it's got too much on there, but that'll all, what happens is when you tighten this down, it'll squeeze out the excess. So you want to put plenty on there, but you don't want to get it inside your threads, all right? And you want to stick it right here in your drain. Now I'm going to turn my drain, my sink and everything on its side, and I'm going to stick my other side through the hole. Now sometimes you have to loosen this one off, slide this rubber seal for the bottom, slide that all the way down, make sure you have enough room. You're going to tighten and squeeze this between the two. Now I am going to put this through my sink, and I'm going to put this other side, I'm going to catch the other side, and I'm just going to thread it on. All right. Now, on the back side, when you do this, you want this hole facing to the back wall, the same to the direction that your faucet is. That's going to be your little plunger that comes through here and opens and closes. That's going to be your trigger that opens and closes your plunger. All right, so let me show you on this side. I've got this side through the hole. I've got it attached to this side with my putty around the hole. And then I'm going to start tightening it up. And I'm going to tighten this up into this hole as much as I can. Once I do, I've got that tightened down on here. Then I go back to the other side. And there's a lock nut. This lock nut, I start tightening this lock nut. It's going to squeeze this washer against the basin, the sink basin. And I'm going to tighten it down. Now this is just finger tight. I'm not trying to bust it. But I'm going to tighten it down as much as I can by hand. Now when I do that, as you'll notice, the putty in the other side is going to start to squeeze out around the drain, and that's what's going to seal your drain in your sink. Okay, but I'm going to continue because I want it to be as flush as possible. So I'm going to continue to turn this with my hands, making sure that this is pointing backwards as much as I possibly can. Okay. Now, the more plumber's putty that you put in there, the more it's going to be difficult to do. All right. See if you can see it. I've got the plumber's putty in there. All right. Now, I'm going to start, and in a few minutes, once this is done, I am going to start, and I'm going to start taking this plumber's putty out of here. Make sure I've got it tight where I want it. You want it as tight as possible by finger. You don't have to break it off with a pipe wrench or anything. Okay, I've got it set. Now, inside the sink, I'm going to get you close. See if I can get you real close here to this. We'll zoom you in. Okay, what I'm going to do is it's squeezed the plumber's putty out, and I'm just going to go around and I'm going to take the excess off. That's all I'm doing is taking the excess off from around my drain, okay? I'm going to take my finger and I'm just sort of going to smooth it out. And right now that's about all I want to do to that side. As you can see, I've got plenty of excess putty left over after I've done this. I just store that back in my container. All right, now I've got that done. So I've got my drain assembly started. And now what I want to do is I want to install my plunger and all of that. Let me put this back in its container with the lid on it. Put my plumber's putty up so it won't dry out. Make sure you, after you open this stuff, guys, it's always good to put it, leave it in the container, but also I'd put it in a Ziploc bag and put it in your plumbing supplies. Now we have several pieces that we have to work with. The first thing is our plunger. We've got our plunger mechanism, and we're going to take off this little protective cap that protects this O-ring. We're not going to stick it in here yet, but if you stick it in, it pops in. This is what opens and closes the plunger. To take it out, you pull the ears and you can take it back out. I just wanted to show you how it works. What do I have to do in order to make this thing work? Let me scoot closer. I'm sitting on a bucket. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Now, on the back side, on the front side, I'm going to place this in our drain hole. This is the plunger with this. You can see it's got it's shaped with it like an L. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick that with that L facing backwards. Now I'm going to place it in there. I'm going to come around here on the back side and you can see the hole. See the white hole right there? Now I'm going to take and I'm going to put this black rod in that white hole. Now it's locked in place. Now that plunger is there and it won't go anywhere. Next step, take your little plunger rod that you pull on the back of your sink and you're going to slide it. And if you notice, it's got a little bitty groove here on, right here on the plunger. I'm going to slide it in the hole and it's going to come down, and this is going to go up and down, and it's going to maneuver this in our process. But how do we attach that? Okay, so this is how we attach it. This has got a little plunger. The end of your plunger goes in this hole here, and it locks in. It goes up, and then this will go, and you put this over one of your holes here, and then you lock it down with that. Now let's see if it'll work. All right. Down. Let me show you. Up, down. Up, down. Guys, that's how simple it is. It's not a big deal. You can easily do this yourself and not have to pay a plumber $150 or whatever per hour to do this, plus a service call. Get out there and learn how to do some of these things on your own. Save a little money and maybe teach some of your kids how to do these things. Now this sink is ready to be installed. Guys, thanks for tuning in, and make sure you hit the like and subscribe button if you learned something today, and then watch our next video on the screen. Guys, thanks for coming out.